Hello there. You're welcome to our Health Hour, your go-to podcast for informative discussions around women's health. In the gym, your car, kitchen, or wherever you decide, tune in every 2 weeks for new hot topics you don't want to miss. And hold on, do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms so you join the conversations at our Health Hour. Hi everyone. You're welcome to another episode of our Health Hour. And today we are very excited because we have a guest with us who reached out to us for us to record an episode together. And that means a lot to us because what she's doing in our space holds so much value, and we think it's a topic that we really need to discuss. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to introduce you to Danielle, and I'll give her the honors to introduce herself. So, Danielle, do you want to briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Danielle Baptiste. I am a mom of one, 20-year-old Brandon. I'm an Army veteran, and I'm also a type 2 diabetic and entrepreneur. And I have an IG page, Diabetes Made Better. I love being a diabetic advocate and talking to diabetics, letting them know the journey of myself and also empowering other diabetics to live with their disease as well.
That's very powerful. And Danielle is joining us all the way from Arizona, US. We're very pleased to have you. And also, of course, in the studio is Ikma.
Yeah.
Ikma,
Yeah, we're really happy to have you in the studio with us today, Danielle. And I'm inspired. I've gone through your page and it's really inspiring to see that you've grown your audience from, just talking about real issues. Because a lot of times like it takes courage to be able to step up and talk about something that you are personally experiencing. So we really appreciate you coming forward, to talk about your experience and experiences and also share tips to people that are currently facing the same challenges.
yeah, what Danielle is doing. And Danielle will be very happy to hear about it. So let's start from the very beginning. Tell us about your story, how you started Diabetes Made Better. And even before then, we would like to hear your story about how you got diagnosed and what has inspired you so far to be so vocal about your own story and also to help other people dealing with diabetes. So just take us through the journey from the very beginning.
Okay. I was first being told that I was a pre-diabetic. And I was told a couple of times, but I didn't listen because I didn't know what pre-diabetic was. So I went on about my life. In 2013, that's when, as my doctor called it, I crossed the line. So I became a type 2. I still didn't want to believe it. I kind of stereotyped what a type 2 was. And I'm sorry for that, but I said that was for older people, that was for plus size people, that was not Danielle. And I stayed in that darkness for about a year and a half. And but once I got my first symptom, which has always been for me the shaking of the hands, I realized she was not lying. I am a diabetic. So my neighbor went along with me and we started walking, and that's when I walked off some pounds and I shaved my A1C down to 4, and I went back to her and she was like, wow, you're not even a diabetic. But she did tell me I had the disease. So that didn't start right then and there, Diabetes Made Better, because I still didn't understand anything about type 2 diabetes. I think I started um, Diabetes Made Better, I'll say about 2019. And I'm an introvert, so Diabetes Made Better still was a little bit slow to, come to where she is now. But I'm glad I got her to where she is. I didn't stop because I could have stopped, but it was still along my journey from the time of my diagnosis to 2019 down to 2025. Come now a little bit to where I want to be, and I've always said it. I want to be transparent with everybody with what happens to me, the good, the bad, the ugly. I don't care. I want you to know what happened with me, and that's always been my thing, to be transparent. And that's what I want my page to be, transparent. So I want diabetics to know that even though you live with this disease, you live with it. You can still live with it. You can still have a life. You don't have to oh, I have diabetes, I can't do this, I can't do. Yes, you can. You still can live with it. You just have to take a little slightly different curve in the road, but you still can live with diabetes. You don't have to stop. So that's what I want to bring out on and into my page and into me. When you talk to me, when you see me, I'm still human, I'm still Danielle. And that's what I want people to know about Diabetes Made Better. When you go to that page, be like, if you see something on my page, it may not happen to you right now, but if it do happen to you, I want you to say, that girl Danielle said that on her page. So it does happen. We all are different. What happens to you may not happen to me. But when you go on my page and you leave a comment or this or that, if that didn't happen to me, but if I see your comment, I'll be like, oh, such and such said that. Oh, that happened to me a year down the road. Yes, that can happen to me. So I just, like I said, my page, I just want it to be transparent and I want to help everybody. That's just my thing. I just want to be authentic with Diabetes Made Better. I just want to be authentic.
Yeah, no, that's very important. Thank you for walking us through that journey. So, just to ask you a few more questions from what you
Mhm.
said. So, when you said doctor mentioned to you you were pre-diabetic, what does that mean? Is it that you have, the history in your family and you have higher risk to be diabetic?
I don't know my dad's side of my family. I don't know. I didn't know the history on his side, but on my side of the family, all I used to hear was sugar. What's sugar? I don't know anything. What's sugar? Hearing that is like shoot over my head. I don't know what that is. We don't know what that is. Then look into that any deeper. Okay,
Mm,
I don't know what that is. So, but I never seen anybody take needles. Like I see
yeah.
now people do insulin. Never saw none of that. Just heard sugar, but that was about the gist of that, and that was just it. Everything was just oblivious. I didn't know. I just
Mm,
did not know. And I always pride myself on being a person that research everything. For some reason, and sometimes to this day, I still wreck my brain and be like, girl, why didn't you research that? You didn't research. And I'm just like, I take it as that was just my lesson from God, and this is where He wanted me to be, and this is what He wanted me to do. So,
mm.
and this is where I am now.
Yeah, no, interesting. And you mentioned there was first denial,
Yeah.
then you
Yes.
accepted the situation, and then you started doing your research, and that really helped you to learn how to live with it, and then you are able to share your knowledge with other people. So it's very important that that acceptance comes in the way
Hmm.
eventually, and it's so great that you've done something with diabetes made better. But just to like, what other thing do you do, like work wise? Or you're just focused on diabetes made better for now?
You mean what I do for work?
Yeah.
I'm a medical support assistant, and
Okay.
that's I make appointments. But for research as far as diabetes, any and everything I see on diabetes, I read. Then a lot of my stuff, what my body tells me, what
Okay.
what I do throughout my day or whatever, what don't agree with me, what my body like. My body tells me a lot of stuff. Like if anything that's out of the ordinary with me, I'm like, no, that's not right. So what I do, I watch it for a day or two, possibly 3 days. I'm calling a doctor. This not. I'm
Yeah.
calling a doctor. So, and that's another thing I would like for diabetics to pay attention to. Pay attention to your body because it does talk to you. And I'm just on that thing. I'm a diabetic now. I don't let nothing linger.
That's very important. So
It's
let's
really,
go
really
into like
important.
living with diabetes. Ma, do you want to
Yeah, it's
do
really,
that?
really important that you're proactive about your health. And that is what we always talk about on the show with each challenges that anyone have. We always advise them to always reach out to the right medical experts for their challenges. And also you mentioned about like being in denial, which is very, very common for a lot of people, especially when you don't think, when you feel like, nah, you can't be dealing with this. And possibly because maybe you feel like it's only overweight people that would get it, you're not fat, something like that. And that is a common misconception that a lot of people have when it comes to diabetes. Denial is one thing. And I feel like the other thing that people often feel when they're newly diagnosed is feeling like it's a death sentence,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they've had people in their families that have been battling with it and maybe did not survive it. So they just think that, I'm dying, and which is not always true for most people if
Mm-hmm.
like get it together. So what does a day in the life look like for you? how do you manage? What is your lifestyle like when it comes to, nutrition, diet, exercise? What does a day in the life look like for you?
And then, then like starts for me between 5:30 in the morning, and that's the first thing I do is when I get up, I thank the Lord that I got another day, and from there, I start my morning routine because without Him, there's nothing. So, and I always feel like I'm living with a chronic disease, and if I can get up another day, that's it. I'm good. Take my medication, start my morning thing, off to get dressed, off to work, begin that day. Begin that day. Well, breakfast in between there, begin that day. And normally for me is grabbing a quick protein drink. I love my strawberry protein drinks. So and the work sometimes can be stressful. So I try to keep that to a minimum because that's another thing I just can't. Me personally, and I'm talking about, I got to keep my stress to a minimum. I got to keep it on the side, and because numbers fluctuate with stress. So I preach heavily on stress. I can't do it because I had it happen to me one time and my numbers went true. So that's a big thing for me throughout the day, especially with the the type of stuff I do is keeping my stress levels away from me. But my nutrition is making sure that I do have my protein and my fiber and my carbs because I do eat my protein, my fiber first, and my carbs last. Because to me, I call it my fiber and my protein is my fighting machines. And then my carbs is last because I try to keep my spikes down to a minimum. So with that, but I do love my Zaxby salads. That's one of my things. I love salads now. Well, I love them even more, should I say. But my exercise routine is basically, for me now, is just a basic walk. But I am turning my dining room into a gym because sometimes I just don't want to go out and do a walk or I
Yeah.
don't want to go out to the gym because I don't like to be around me personally, I don't like to be around a lot of people.
Okay.
So I'm turning my dining room into a gym. I bought a couple things and that's going to be my gym and that's what I'm going to do my thing at. So, and that's my day in the life of Danielle is pretty much boring.
No, it doesn't sound like it's
Listen,
boring.
because
Given everything you
actually,
said, it's
everything you
not
said,
boring.
every action that you put into it actually, works with what you're trying to achieve with the whole working
Yeah.
out and the dieting as well. And you mentioning that you like salads more. A lot of times we like, obviously, a lot of people prefer the carbs. A lot of us prefer the carbs and all. And salad is always like side, a lot of people don't pay
Exactly.
attention to. But with certain conditions comes changes that you need to put in place. You know that this
Yeah,
is good for you. So if you want to be kind to yourself and not to the extremes, then you need to change
right.
your lifestyle completely. And
Yeah.
And see,
I
the
get
thing
that.
is, some people make eating hard or make diabetes hard. You tell it to you. It's not hard. I see people eating all this, ooh, this fancy stuff and this and that. No, I didn't eat that before I had diabetes. I'm not going to eat that now. I don't eat all this. No, 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 no. That's not me. Make it sensible. Make it for you. Make it to where you got to make sure you have your proteins, make sure you have the stuff that you need to sustain you and to keep your glucose where it needs to be. But you don't have to get out there and eat all this stuff that people in master classes want you to eat or these nutritionists want you to eat or this. No, make your diet your own. Make
Hmm.
diabetes yours, not for nobody else. Because the people that's teaching you this stuff is not diabetics.
Hmm.
Make it your own. Make it easy. Once you start making it easy and making it for you, watch what your numbers do. Because my numbers are good.
Hmm.
Sometimes my CGM go off at night and I'm like, oh, here we go. Here we go. But I now and what I do with that, how I combat that is I do two boiled eggs before I go to bed at night. I don't even have a problem with it no more. Because it used to just go off. 12 o'clock midnight. I'm like, what you going off for now? And it used to keep me up to like 3, 4 in the morning. I'm like, oh Lord. So I was like, oh, I must didn't have enough protein. So you gotta be able to just think like a diabetic too. You gotta live with it, but you gotta think like it. I was like, oh, I gotta figure out a way to beat this CGM. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm gonna eat 2 boiled eggs. Let me see what that do. 2 boiled eggs. I ain't heard that thing no more. So I got you. You got to be able to think.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, Danielle, you've mentioned very critical things. I like what you mentioned about stress. So it's
Mhm.
very important to keep stress level very minimal
You gotta keep them
because
very
it
minimal.
affects your insulin levels and it impacts your numbers. So how do you track your numbers? Do you have like the machine at home, or how do you go about that?
Track my what was it?
The numbers. You've mentioned like keeping tab of your numbers. So how do you do that?
I have the CGM that I put on my arm, and I also have my glucose planner book that you can write in if you don't have the CGM, which I have to go pick up from Walgreens today once we're done. And I also, for me, if I can tell when my numbers are dropping, because I wash my hands, and if they shaking, I'm like, I'm dropping. And see,
Hmm.
that's just my personal thing because I'm so in tune with my body. If my hands are dropping and I get this little funny feeling, I was like, I'm dropping. And then I check, and I'm like, that CGM about to go off. And sure enough, I hit an alarm. I was like, oh, I'm already ahead of you. And I have glucose tablets all over my house.
Hmm.
And I have a area in my bedroom. I call it my hypogly. I had a different name for it. I had it hypoglycemia and hypo. That's my area for all my stuff. So that way, my son, if I'm dropping or whatever, he can just go right there and give mama what she needs. And
Hmm.
he already knows when I be like, Brandon, he already know. So he's already taught on what he needs to do. And he was taught that around the age of 15. So
Oh,
I keep him in tune on what's going on with mama as well.
interesting. Yeah, so know your body. I mean, that's a key summary here.
Mm,
It's a very good thing that you understand how your body works, and when something changes, you are able to quickly pick that up and
yeah.
work on it, and also like have help around you if you are able to access that.
hmm
It's important to help manage that. Okay, so let's talk a bit more about your advocacy. Diabetes made better. So where are you taking that to? What's the vision with diabetes made better?
My vision for it is to have more collaborations. I would love to do some brand deals with others and to just I want to put out a lot more things for diabetics because I'm constantly thinking of ways that I can help, and that's coming from through me. And in the beginning, when I first became a diabetic, how can I catch other that's in pre-diabetes stage and that's became a diabetic that don't know the first lick about it. So I want to catch them. So I want to be your first stop shop. So I can, as soon as you become, be like, I'm going to Diabetes Mary Better page and get this. I want this manual she has out. But like I said, I want to basically get into some deals with other big brands and work with them and give them what I have in my head and be like, okay, let's put this out for others.
Hmm. No, that's a big vision, and I really hope you're able to accomplish that. And that's also like a
Thank you.
step you've taken, like reaching out to us to also further expand your impact and advocacy. So, with all your content creation, what kind of content do you think has resonated most with your audience? And are you particular about women, or it's mixed kind of creation that helps anybody living with diabetes?
I think that just me being real,
Mm-hmm.
being a real person, being authentic, me being transparent. And I like the fact that I just like to have humor. I'm a real person living with the same thing you are and not just somebody that's talking to you and we just see numbers. You're not living with the same thing, here I living with. It's just like, it was like a patient, somebody I was talking to, and he was like, it's good to talk to somebody else that's having the same thing I do versus talking to someone that don't have it because they're not seeing and feeling what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I say understandable because I feel the same way sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So you use humor to pass your message, and also you think like people should learn firsthand from someone experiencing the same thing because, of course, you know better because you are experiencing the same thing, and you can pass the message directly to them as well. But it's also very critical that people listen to their doctors, of course, as well.
Yeah, still listen to your doctor, and because my thing is still listen to your doctor, but when you start, and also listen to your body. That way, you can have different types of conversations when you
Yeah.
go to your doctor. That way, you can be like, doctor, da, 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 this. Because I just had my appointment just 2 days ago, and I was letting her know. I was like, I'm noticing, my index finger. For some reason, it just stays cold when my body gets cold and I get warm, it's just this one finger just stays cold. And she said, how did you know? I said, because it's just that one finger. And she said, how long this stays cold? I said, yes, I did time it, 10 minutes. And so she checked my nerves, checked everything. She said, everything is fine. But I was like, was wondering why. She was like, I'm glad you was able to pinpoint and notice that because a lot of people wouldn't have noticed one finger stays cold. I said, yes, it stays cold. I said,
Mm.
but anything that happens with me and I'm a diabetic, I'm talking.
Mm.
So you need to tell them everything because that's the one defense you got. You
Yeah.
need to talk. If you can't remember, write it down because that's one of the things doctors they want you to tell them. Tell
Mm.
them. That's
Yeah.
the only way you can, beat some of the stuff. You can beat some of the things in the beginning if you talk.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
like the fact that, you mentioned that you use humor to like engage with your audience,
Mm-hmm.
in order for them, at least they see you, and so they're not like downcast about their situation. For you, what are like before you took a turn to share your experience and your challenges with with your audience, what were like the mental struggles you had before you decided to come out to share with others?
At first I didn't want to talk
Okay.
about it because I felt people would be like, she big anyway, so
Okay.
that's
Mm.
probably why she a diabetic. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to think what you thinking about me, having diabetes. Because right now, me talking now, a lot of people were like, I didn't know you had diabetes. And I'm like, why would I tell you? So, so it's kind of like, my mental, on that was, basically that, you kind of have a little shame about it because you in your own head, it's like, because like I said, I already had stereotypes
Yeah.
and being plus size people. I mean, I wasn't huge, but I wasn't that small either when I was
Okay.
diagnosed. It and I already suffer from depression.
Hmm.
So I have two things that I'm battling right now. So I definitely have to stay away from a lot of stress, stuff like that. So I would just say, my biggest mental would be the fact that I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't a 104 weight 104 girl when I was diagnosed. So
Mm.
Honestly, Danielle, you sharing your story, your struggles is very, very powerful, and I'm happy that you were able to break free from everything holding you up or everything that could have held you up from sharing
mhm.
your story. And you bring out the boldness, and you're able to share your story, and you're helping other people one way or the other as well. So, just to zoom in more on how you go about your nutrition and fitness. So you mentioned you try to take more protein, you try to work around what you have using your living room as a gym, and you are also trying to take a walk every day. So are there anything that you particularly struggle with? Do you have days whereby you're just like, I'm so tired of all this kind of
Yeah.
lifestyle, I just want to take a break? Yeah, cheat days. How do you manage days where your body is craving perhaps to take something else outside of everything that you've designed to help your nutrition? So how do you manage those kind of days where you are very low in activity, or you don't just want to follow any kind of routine?
Yes, there are those days. I'm like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm tired. I'm like, I don't feel like doing nothing. And trust me, on those days, I'm not doing nothing.
Hmm.
I have my chair that I have in my den. I sit in that chair and I'm watching TV. That's what I'm doing. Or I'm scrolling for looking for something to shop. That those I love to shop. Those are my pastimes, shopping, and I'm just relaxed. I'm chilling. I'm with myself. I have my animals. My son is upstairs on his game. I'm better me with me,
Hmm.
and I'm not bothering nobody. In those days, yes, I don't want to do no exercise. These days, I don't even want to eat. I'm
Hmm.
like, I'm chilling. I'm just chilling. Yes, there are those days.
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm
Yeah. So but
relaxed.
I guess what's important is trying to break away from that cycle
Yeah,
as fast as possible and to get back to your routine because it's human just
yeah,
to want to break away from your routine
yeah.
on some
Yeah,
days.
So,
So are there particular so
does it impact when you take like those breaks off your normal routine? Does it impact your overall health, or does it
no,
dip your sugar? Does it spike whatever?
no,
Does it impact it? Okay,
no.
so it's okay to take breaks away from
Yeah,
dieting or exercises. It doesn't impact
yeah.
anything.
For me, it's okay for me because I think because I tell myself my body's still a fighting machine on the inside. So it's like, okay, girl, you can take a break or two because I'm still doing what I need to do to keep you where you need to be. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay, I'm good. Like you good. You could take that. You can take that break
hmm.
because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, my body's still fighting on the inside, doing what it need to do, and I can handle that break.
I think
Yeah.
even taking that break is part of being human. And what I've
Hmm.
also realized is consistency is key. So sometimes when you take a little break, as long as you are not
Hmm.
consistently taking a break, then you
Yeah.
are fine. If you're back to your routine, it
Hmm.
will be like
Right.
impact because your body is already used to you following a particular kind of
Right.
routine consistently.
Right.
So that lifestyle change is very
Right.
critical to manage diabetes. Okay, so are there particular apps or tools that you use, your go-to apps that you want to share that have been helpful, either tracking or just helping you stay in check?
Right now, the only thing that I'm using is just my CGM that's on my arm, and I just use write down my glucose planner, and then I'll be partnering with Milton, the app that that I'm working on with Miguel, so that'll be coming out soon. So that's I used to do all those apps in the beginning and things like that, but I was like they're the same thing, so no, I just use my internal app.
Hmm. So that didn't work for you. No, no. I mean, it's important to find what works for you anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find what works. Yeah.
that's
Find what
absolutely
works for you.
understandable.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah. Find what works with you. Works for you, and use that. I'm not telling nobody not to use them. You work. Find what works for you, and go with that. I mean, I had a guy came in. He was like, "Fuck diabetes." I was like, "Oh Lord."
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, with
like,
diabetes though,
okay.
do you think it has a different impact on both male and female? What impact do you think as a female it would have on you, whether fertility, metabolism, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I think with us, we got our hormones, and we
Yeah.
got different things within us, and then the males have the different things with them. But one difference I would say is males are hard headed,
Hmm.
and you tell a male to go to the doctor, I am not going to no doctor. Da, 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 da. Females, we go see what's going
Yeah.
on with us. Men are hard headed. Females, we're gonna go check and see what's going on with us.
Yeah.
But men, I'm not gonna say all, so nobody won't blast me on this podcast, but um, males just, like I said, that one male that I ran into, he was like, "Fuck diabetes." So, but I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, but yeah, that's it. We have our and we carry stress a little bit differently than males. Then we got our sleep patterns and different things. So, and that's another thing. Get your sleep. You need your sleep. At least get your 6, 7 hours of sleep. You definitely need to sleep because if you don't sleep, that messes up your numbers too.
Wow.
Definitely. I know I done ran into that too. If you don't sleep, messes up your numbers. Aside from your numbers, it messes up your day. So get
Yeah.
your get your get your
Sleep is so important, and Many people don't
Very.
realize that 7 to 8 hours of sleep is recommended, and
Yeah.
it also ties back to what you said about managing stress. Very, very critical
Very.
when living with diabetes. Even to live a healthy life, generally, it's advised that
But
you get as much sleep as possible. Okay, Danielle, we'll soon be wrapping up. So we just want to hear from you. Are there anything you are working on right now with diabetes made better that people should be anticipating? Are there any key takeaways that you want to share with our audience, just on everything that we've been discussing?
I, matter of fact, I'm gonna be coming out with like it's a color your calm stress coloring book. So I have that that's gonna be coming out, and then I'm gonna be doing a t-shirt line. So I'm
Okay.
doing that, and the takeaway for you guys is just give yourself grace. Just give yourself grace, and you'll be okay.
So give yourself grace, and can you expatiate a bit more on that?
Basically, everything is not going to be perfect,
Mm,
and you're living day by day. So whatever happens today is not your tomorrow. Don't beat yourself up for today's. If your number's not good today, that's today.
mm,
Don't beat yourself up. I used to do that in the beginning and the reason I did that because I didn't understand. I didn't understand diabetes. I didn't understand the numbers. I didn't understand all of that. But I understand it now. And I don't beat myself up if my numbers drop. I don't beat myself up if my numbers go high, and I get the little headache. Give yourself
mm.
grace. Just give yourself grace. Okay? Just do that for me, please.
And what would you say is something that people that are not diagnosed yet, what should they look for in terms of symptoms that should be like a red light for them or an indication for them to go get themselves checked?
If that's not diagnosed,
Yeah, people that are undiagnosed yet, for them to just be,
oh,
is there an indicator to, go get
The
themselves?
one thing that the
Yeah.
one thing that got me was I call it cat and mouse, and I kept going back and forth to the bathroom. As soon as I came out, I was going back in. So I
Okay.
had dry mouth and constant urination and headache. Like I said, my fingers were shaking, and you just have a different feeling, in your body. But the constant urination and the it's a dryness of the mouth that I had when I got caught. And she was like, "Don't come to me, go straight to the lab." And
Was this at the
also
diabetic stage or the type 2, like diabetic stage? Was this pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetic stage?
I was type 2. Yeah. I was
Okay.
type 2. Yeah.
So the
I was type
symptoms didn't start when you were pre-diabetic. It started when you were like proper diagnosed with, before you
because
were diagnosed with type 2
because
diabetes.
when she was telling me I was pre-diabetic, I can't really remember what the symptoms. Even if I don't even know if I had symptoms, I know I was just doing labs when I was doing my labs, and I guess my A1C numbers were like six. Cause I remember numbers of 6.7, 6.8, but to me, I didn't think nothing of those numbers.
Okay.
To me that sounds good. But the last time was 8.6, and that's when she gave me no more chances.
Hmm.
So I was done then.
Hmm.
No more
I
chances.
think our audience should be careful about even being pre-diabetic, because it's from there
Yeah,
you can easily go overboard
you could.
without
There you
realizing.
go.
And it's so scary because with being pre-diabetic, sometimes you don't really get symptoms, as you've said, like you can't even remember if you had any
I
symptoms.
can
And that's
I
how
can remember.
unalarming it is. You're not alarmed enough to go and get
Hmm.
checked. So I think it's one thing to, we always advise our audiences to always get checked, even when
Yes.
something seems wrong, because a lot of things go
Right.
quietly and you don't realize until it's too late already.
Too late.
Yeah, it's always good to be on the lookout, and I appreciate you sharing your journey with us.
And I think too, like when they do have labs and they tell them at that moment that this is what your A1C is and your glucose, and they say pre-diabetic, start now. Don't do like I did and just walk out of there like a dummy and continue doing what you were doing. If somebody had told me, oh, you better start turning them numbers around and stop eating what you're eating and doing some exercise and lose a little bit of weight or whatever, stop doing what you're doing. Don't do like I did, like oblivious to the moon.
Yeah.
No.
So as soon as
Yeah.
you're like pre-diabetic, you should start trying to turn the numbers around
Yes.
rather than
Yes.
just waiting it out.
Yeah, I waited it out and I waited and look where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
That's a
don't.
key takeaway for our audiences to,
Yeah.
Yeah,
understand that it
I
should
agree.
have to wait.
Yeah, don't.
Wait.
Yeah, don't wait. Don't wait.
Really important.
Okay. Danielle, if you could summarize everything we've been saying into three practical things that people living with diabetes should start doing today, what would that be?
You said what they should
Three.
start
I said
doing.
it. Yeah, if you could summarize everything we've been saying into three practical steps or tips that people living with diabetes should start doing today, what would that be?
I would say I would give them the tips of one. You definitely listen to your body. Uh, I would say, like my thing, give yourself grace. It's not a beat yourself up type thing you need to do. And what's my favorite one? Progress over perfection. So it's
Okay.
and then I'll make it four.
One bonus.
Look, it like it just went out of my head when I said I'll make it four. Live for you. Don't live for what somebody else tell you you need to do with your diabetes. Live for you, not nobody else. Because somebody else, even if you talk, even me, I can't tell you what to do with your diabetes. Only you. That's why I say progress over perfection and give yourself grace. Yeah, and stay in range. Stay in range.
You're right.
Now.
That's right.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I'm gonna make it six because one key takeaway that I've taken from what you've been saying so far and what you're currently doing is the power of community. You get
Yes.
you building a community through your platform and sharing what you're experiencing. It's so powerful, and I feel like any challenge you have, be it health or emotional challenge, and especially something like this, you sometimes need a community to deal with it mentally.
Hmm.
There are some people that are like introverted naturally and they don't want to come out to do anything like the exercise, or they don't even know who to
Hmm.
go to for help because sometimes
Right.
your doctors just give you instruction on what to do, but you don't know how to actually go about it. But I feel like
Right.
the effect of community goes a long way in helping people. Like, oh, okay, you have what I have, so it's easier for me to relate to you and listen to what you have to say, or just let's do this thing together. Maybe we should try a particular diet. Let's explore together. So I feel like the power of community is really, really important with regards to health challenges like this. So I think that's one thing that I've taken from things you said so far.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
I
an
agree.
extra bonus,
I agree.
Ikma. Yeah, and I believe we can wrap with that, Ikma. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I just hope our audience listening have learned a thing or two about diabetes and not to wait it out. Always go get checked, as we always say on this platform. And if you're eventually diagnosed as being diabetic, then it's not the end of the world. You just have to find your own people and also, learn to deal with it as every other thing. So yeah, I think that's from my side. That's all I would like to say.
Yeah,
What about you, Bella?
yeah.
Hmm.
I agree. I agree.
I agree.
And we're going to drop the link to Danielle's Instagram page as well when we upload this episode, so our listeners can connect with you directly and also check some of the resources that you have and the wonderful work that you're doing with Diabetes Made Better. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Danielle, for your time. It's been an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. And thanks for reaching out to us. It also shows that we are doing something powerful with our health hour. And we want more people to step up, collaborate with us, work with us, and share their stories with us as well so that we create impact together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye. Information shared on this podcast are not to be considered medical advice. Always consult with a qualified medical professional for all your health concerns. Thank you.